Welcome back to the Harlow Playhouse, and with me now we have the legendary TV medium, Derek Acorah. Hello, Derek.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to be back in Harlow.
Absolutely, yeah.
You was here last year. I saw you here last year.
Did you?
Fantastic show.
Did you enjoy?
I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad to hear that.
To actually be here, I mean, when you watch you on TV and you talk to people, okay, but when you actually sit in the audience, it's so, you know, it just brings it to life. It's amazing. I mean, this girl you spoke to, you know, sort of hit the nail on the head every single time.
Well, I you know, personally like the live events. These demonstrations are live. There's no scripts to it. There's no preempting or anything. It's happening at the moment. It's spontaneous. And, you know, to make it a good evening, we need that 50% from the audience themselves. That they're going to take part in it. In other words, going to be ready to receive if their loved one comes through the veil. To say yes.
So they've got to be open-minded to receive.
Absolutely. Don't be staying closed or cynical. If you're thinking cynically, or you know, oh, I don't believe in this, but I'll just wait and see. Those people are blocking themselves from getting any sort of energy from the world of spirit.
Will their spirit still be there, waiting to talk to them, although they're blocking? Or
oh yes, their loved ones will want to talk to them, but they wouldn't know it. But they're blocking their loved one from getting through.
That's a shame,
isn't it?
I want to start off with, so you talked to your, as a child, you were visited by the spirits of your grandfather.
Yes.
How old were you?
I wasn't quite 7. I was 6.
Was it scary though?
It was, but it wasn't scary as people would probably think it was scary. It was scary to me as that young boy of seeing a man suddenly in front of me, standing in the doorway of a bedroom. And I could see him as features. I can look at you. I seen the clothes that he was showing himself in. I just thought it was a stranger in my grand's house. He was tangible to me. And I'm thinking, you know, at that young age, what is this strange man? I've never seen it. What's he doing in my grand's house?
You hadn't seen him beforehand?
Never.
Right.
And, you know, to experience that, and for him to walk up towards me, and then me look up, because he looked like a giant of a man. I know he wasn't, but to me he did. And then with his hand, his spirit hand, touch my hair and ruffle my hair. And then suddenly started speaking. You know, it was only when I got down the stairs and went to Gran and told Gran, and she went to the cupboard and brought this old tin box out, took the lid off it, emptied the contents on top of the table. And there was these old photographs, images of people I'd never seen before. I'd never been shown this. And she asked me, could I see the man in any of those photographs? And there was 2. One of him just head and shoulders, and the other, would you believe it, in the 3-piece suit he was standing in the doorway. Dark, like a waistcoat and jacket. And I picked them up right away, and this is the man, who is this? And everything went hush. She wasn't speaking. She looked it over at my mum looked at her, and I was just ushered to the table where we were going to have our dinner. And it was quite a while before I was explained to. Gran said, that strange man will not come into my house again. That's the way she left it. Because she felt, as I was explained to later, I was too young to comprehend it, to accept it. And when I think back, Gran knew all about it, because she was a medium like me.
Yeah.
It was only when I was 9 that Mum and Gran decided I was old enough, I had maybe the intelligence, if you like, to understand that, hey, this was a spirit man, you know, Gran sees them every day of her life, or spirit people, and I had the gifts just like her.
Do you still see him now? Does he come back then?
I've seen him, not a lot in my older life, but he has come back. The last time I saw him was just before Mum passed over. And he came through with my Gran just to reassure me that they were ready for Mum. So that was nice.
That's a nice story. Sam, let's touch on Sam, because you mentioned Sam quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
Now, on your website, which I'll mention at the end, Sam is your Ethiopian spirit guide.
Yes.
Which he's there at meet, you know, when you have your meetings. Is he here like now? I mean,
yes,
he is.
He's in attendance. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's listening to this interview.
Do you actually? I mean, you can see him in his features as well.
I see him tangible. When I get out on that stage, he's shown himself to me.
Yeah.
And I converse with Sam a lot. He helps me a great deal. And I like to think, you know, in interviews when I'm asked about Sam, is that our guides as mediums are so invaluable that any person I've heard periodically people say who are in the way, oh, I don't need my guide, or I don't need guides. Well, I'd be worried about that, because, you know, as mediums, it's like a 50-50 thing with our guides. Spirit communicators find it difficult to communicate with a medium. the guide should step in, and it should be a three-way. That's exactly what Sam does.
So when you're on stage, I mean, when I saw you here last time, you were saying all the spirits are sort of lined up behind you. So would Sam sort of like...
He keep them in order, yeah.
Come
it's
on,
like it's one at a time, one at a time. So he's there constantly helping, and so just like at a show in Reading the other evening, there was a man who just towards the end of the show came through, and he'd only been over 4 days, and he hadn't left the airplane because he knew his wife was coming to the show. Had he not been ill, he would have come as well, but he fell ill. And he passed over and he stayed behind and he come through and he said, it was such an endearing thing, he said, I'm so lucky, tell my wife, so lucky. I really shouldn't have been up this queue, I was right at the back. But everyone that was in the queue waiting knew that I'd stayed here and allowed me to come forward.
Really?
He'd only passed 4 days before. The lady was just, and the evidence he gave her was just, it's quiet in the auditorium.
Was he angry? I mean, because he was going to see the show.
Yeah.
But was he angry as a spirit because he went so soon?
No, he wasn't. He was surprised. He was surprised, and he'd had an ailment for a while, but it had been balanced, and he was under medication, but he wasn't expecting to go. And nor was his wife. And, she came, the ticket that she had for her husband gave to a next-door neighbour who had to come with her, and she was holding her hand. And when I'd explained a little bit about his personality, she stood up and she said, although crying, but happiness, she said, oh, that's him, that's it, him to a T. They're the words he would use.
Another good story. Right, I want to touch on my next question here, excuse me. You say on your website, let me just mention your website, it's www.derekacorah.org, which is the official website. A lot of information on there, nice website.
Thank you.
You said basically we reincarnate after our spirit recuperates itself and charges back up, and you call it a sleep state.
Yes.
So as a spirit, when we've recuperated, do we have a choice of how we come back on Earth? I mean, as a human, or would it be some
We can never go lesser than what we are. We can't go lower in consciousness. In other words, that question's been asked, very good question. Hey Derek, can we come back as like a dog? Can we come back like an animal? No, I'm afraid not. We will come back and reincarnate as a human being, because it is the spirit.
Of the same sex?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, right.
We have differences, we change.
Okay.
We have to, all of us. This is why the feminine instinct in all men sometimes can come to the fore very strongly in a given lifetime, and yet they're heterosexual.
So they could have been a female in a previous life?
Yes, there's chances on in the previous one, It
makes sense, doesn't it, really? So when we do reincarnate, we'd forget we had a previous life.
You've got to forget.
Yeah. Well,
that's the way the power makes it, because if we were to remember, and we got flashbacks all the time, it'll send us crazy.
What about, every day we think, I've been here before.
Yes.
Hang on, this rings a bell.
Yeah.
It could have been from the previous life.
Yeah, little bits. It is. It's little sprinklings from the past.
So I believe it all adds up. So for these non-believers out there. Now, the last...
They'll soon believe when they make the journey over there.
Yeah. You're on tour, so go to the website and go and see one of Derek's meetings. He's on tour for quite a long while. When you're on stage, I mean, we just touched on this, but when you're on stage and the spirits are waiting, and I did touch on this with Sam about being impatient. Do you get frustrated because they're trying to come through? So you're talking to somebody in the audience, and the spirits are trying to.
When they jump queues, such as I said, but he was gentle in his jumping the queue, and it was accepted. But some will jump the queue. Some will. You might get one family member you're conversing with and telling the family member, it could be, i.e., a mother, and suddenly the father steps through and wanting to speak over the mother. It's only excitement. That's all it is. And maybe if a son's gone over, and there could be 6 or 7, that's where Sam comes in. Excuse me, hold on a minute. So I get, if they do that and Sam hasn't already checked them, there is a sense of frustration. Also, your personality trait. The moment you leave your physical life and you transcend your spirit body to the realm designated for you before you go into the sleep state, you hold on to that personality. That does not change whatsoever, one iota. Even when you go through the sleep state, the chances are the personality is not going to change. So if you've got a person such as was used to maybe, let's say as an example, a man who lived till he was 75, whatever, and the best part of his life is vocabulary, and the way he spoke was a little bit out of order. The likelihood is when he's communicating, he'll slip up and he'll let the curse words out or say, and of course the loved one in the ears and say, well, that's him, because every other word was,
Yeah, I heard that last time, and you said word per word.
Yeah.
If the bad people on this earth doing bad things, we all go to one place.
Yeah.
So the good person, you go to church, and the horrible person who goes to prison, we all just go to one place. So
yes, when you say one place,
I mean, is there a hell?
There's not a hell as such, but there is the lower regions of the world of spirit, where the bad ones or the ones who were not good, get a chance to redeem themselves a little bit. It takes quite a long time, and they have to change their personalities, but they want to. And the hierarchy know when they're ready to, I am sorry. However, they dwell in one kingdom, in one spirit realm, and it's not nice for a person who was a good person, if they were to take them to that realm, the lowest realm first, before they took them they would be horrified at what they see.
I mean, I refer to, and a lot of people will, like the film Ghost, and the black shadows come out. We get sort of educated to what it might look like after life because of these films. And these sort of black spirits, sort of dragon, black shadows.
The lower region beings, that dwell there, and it's not unlike that. Often it's been termed, the region is a mess of them all being of like-mindedness, where they're there to hate each other, and there's a constant. Maybe this is why depicted the word hell is the fire and people screaming, or there's certainly screaming going on constantly because they're self-hating each other.
Well, let's hope I go to the very nice world. Before we go, Harlow, you looking forward to tonight and tomorrow
Absolutely.
night?
Oh yes.
Is Harlow a good crowd?
Yes, they are. They're up for it. They're buoyant, and they throw out a good energy, and that helps so much. It helps their loved ones want to communicate, and I just hope tonight Sam and I with the team are going to go out there and tomorrow night and give them a spiritual party. Okay.
So just one thing just come to mind. Areas of the UK, for instance, do you find there's more spirits in certain parts of the UK?
Not really, no. You find a different type of spirit. It's just like in personality here on the earth. Here we are in Harlow. I could have been in Edinburgh. The people in Edinburgh are not going to be exactly the same. They might have the same sentiments that come to make a connection with a loved one, but there's a difference in the speed in which it's interpreted and accepted. It's like I say, if I went, and this is nothing against lovely people of Bournemouth or anywhere like that down there, they're very, very slow to accept. Whereas, the higher we come up, there's more speed to I know that's me, So you've got to accept that as is.
Yeah. What about accents? Because you're about Scotland, what about accents? I mean, the spirits have the same accent. So, I mean, some of the Scottish, the true Scottish unit is, pardon? What? What?
Well, that's what I do. If I can't, I was in Glasgow, I was in Edinburgh, I was in Dundee, I was in Aberdeen just recently, and a couple of the communicators, I'm saying, excuse me, what did you say? And, and getting the approval of the loved one who's shouting out what they think that the person is saying, and saying the exact thing. And, there's never one show, one evening's demonstration is ever quite the same as another. As I say, it's unique in itself. And I get a right big inner kick. That's what keeps me going all these years, is that adrenaline push to see how those lovely people are. It's helping them, not hindering, not like the skeptics say.
And every night's different, like you said. So
yes. And I hope also some people within our work, especially from the spiritualist side of view, it shouldn't be entertaining. Well, look, I tell you what, I watched it when I was a youngster, okay? It was some of the old mediums of the old school, and they were morbid looking, I'm afraid, and they were mystical looking, and you couldn't approach them. Now, mediumship in this day and age is not meant to be that way. Those loved ones are coming through happy and buoyant. Some of them want to dance, so I'll say they want to dance. Now, that to me, if that's entertaining, that's all right by me. So you're not going to have a morbid affair with Derek Acorah and Sam. You're going to get a happy medium in a buoyancy. So I hope that the people who have not had that vital connection on the night will go out and say, well, you know what, might not have got that connection there, but I really enjoyed myself.
Damn good night, but like you said, you're doing tours in Australia and so forth, so and it's a sellout tour, so people do love you, they obviously believe you, and I mean, some people, you know, you use the word entertainment, and other people might use entertainment, but it's a bloody good evening, and as I said, you do talk to these people who have lost their partners and so forth, so I've seen it myself, saw it last year, saw it myself. Anyway, Derek, we're going to wrap it up here, so once again, thank you. Have a marvellous time in sunny Harlow.
I'm going to, I know I am.
And you if they go to your website here, once again, derecacorah.org, when does your tour finish?
This tour finishes on the 4th of July, and that is the last show. And then, of course, I have a little mini break. I'm going to record a new television series, and then I'm packing my bags, and I'm off to Australia.
And I'm coming with you.
September,
Anyway, from me, Pete, and Derek, thank you.